Hey, what's up? This is Ryan Turner, no autopilot, founder of the Gaming Startup Collective. The video you're about to watch is a recording of a live pitch session between three of our community founders and Nico from FOGDAO. Now, if you didn't know, the Gaming Startup Collective is a community of early-stage indie game developers. We share best practices, network contacts, and support to make your journey in being a Web3 gaming founder slightly less painful. We're also a proud Arbitrum Community Questbook grant recipient. FOGDAO is exploring the future of the gaming industry, in particular its intersection with Web3. It is led by Nico, who's an active VC at the firm BITKRAFT, and in his free time helps Web3 gaming founders on their journey to build tremendous projects. In this video, you're going to see three games presented: Unfamiliar Territory, Cosmic Exodus, and Hey Chef. Finally, if you are an early stage Web3 game and you have not yet found a protocol to call home, I highly recommend you take a look at Arbitrum. They've just opened up Arbitrum Community Questbook grants, equaling 25,000 Arbitrum tokens for indie games and small studios. There's a link in the description where you can follow that through. 25,000 ARB tokens is roughly around $50,000 USD at the time of this recording. All right, enough of me talking. Enjoy the video. Feel free to swing through and join our community, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace. So we got three projects presenting today. We have Unfamiliar Dude. Glad to see the webcam on. I should probably turn mine on too. Hold on. We got Oxama. And we have Tom Everywhere. And then it looks like we have a Philip, Erasmo, Davey. These are all other builders as well. Okay, gentlemen.
Fantastic.
So let's do this. So Nico, for the folks who don't know you, do you mind just giving a quick intro, and then we'll get it passed over to a game?
Yeah, of course, happy to. Built a number of businesses in the crypto space. More on the financial, like the fintech style, the fintech side of things. Then decided to follow my passion to dig into the intersection of Web3 and games. This was 3 years ago, and then joined BITKRAFT on their Web3 gaming team. So BITKRAFT is one of the earlier and one of the bigger early stage gaming focused VCs. We invest in both like traditional games companies, but also in Web3 games companies, and also everything around that, right? We do infrastructure bets in these respective areas as well. And I, used to be a founder. I have had very tough times fundraising as well. And so I I hope to be helpful and share any insights that I might have, being on the other side of the table for a couple of years now.
He also has probably the best Web3 gaming podcast in existence.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, especially, Nico's kind of been on this on-chain game thing for a while. It seems before it became kind of a hot trend, but yeah, definitely check that out. Okay, gentlemen. So we have not decided who's going to go first. So it is up for grabs. We got Tom, Oxama, Unfamiliar Dude. Anyone want to volunteer? Or am I picking names? I'm picking names. Oh, Oxama, I saw a hand raise. Wow. Congrats on going first. That's a lot of courage.
Yeah, because I have two kids that I will have to take care of after that. So
that's a good reason.
I won't. Yeah, that's a good reason. Okay, I will share my screen.
Perfect. And then just so everybody knows, so aiming for around 10, 15 minutes max for each team. The earlier you finish, the more time you'll have for feedback. And I do have a timer here that I'll keep track and give you notices as we're kind of cruising along. Okay, all yours, Oxama.
Okay. Thanks. So hi, folks. My name is Kevin, and I'm one of the founder of Hey Chef, an AI-powered app using Web3 features to gamify the cooking activity. We are still at a very early stage, but we have already launched a Web 2 MVP as a progressive web app, and we will enter in a beta testing stage for our Web 3 features in January. Mission is to help people to take back control of their diet and as well as help people to start cooking. We think that thanks to our app, we can save them some time and keep them motivated in this long journey. By the way, did you know that if you start cooking by the age of 20, you could gain on average of 12 to 14 years of life expectancy? To help people understand why it's important to change their habits, we decided to make a cooking game. In fact, according to many studies, it takes on average of 66 days to change your habits, and gamification is one of the most powerful and efficient ways to do that. The problem is, in fact, bad habits such as ultra-processed have a cost, and it's not just your wallet that is affected. In fact, such habits have multiple impacts, and just let me give you some facts. The annual cost of obesity to government is 70 billion euros in Europe and $50 billion per year in the US. Food is one of the biggest expenses in every country in the world, but food from restaurant or supermarket is on average 3 to 10 times more expensive than food you can cook at home. It depends where you live. In addition to this, and due to recent factors such as COVID, Ukraine, and Gaza situation, people have lost some purchasing power. For example, 10% on average in Europe and up to 16% in the US since 2018. So food will be a challenge in the coming years. Moreover, ordering food or consuming food from supermarkets has a huge environmental impact. So the solution to answer this kind of problem, our solution is to propose a complete cooking app which guides you from A to Z on the cooking value chain. First, an app which combines all you need to cook at home. We help you from the recipe origination, the monitoring of your diet, the storage of your cookbooks, and online purchases of your aliments. As a smart shopping list, and tomorrow, hopefully, as groceries interconnected shopping list. Secondly, we gamify the cooking activity with an RPG-like game. The principle is really simple. You download the app, you pick a chef, which is an NFT. You choose a recipe, you cook, and you share your meal with pictures, and you get rewarding during a season. The idea is to guide the players through some culinary quests based on goals set by themselves. For example, I want to rebalance my diet. Player will grind different type of ladders that reward their attendance, their creativity, their trading skills. So why Web3? We think that blockchain increase the user retention. We deeply believe that blockchain will help us to securize the game and make it perennial. During this speech, I don't want to dive too deep in our tokenomics, but they are available in our light papers. But just keep in mind that we do not have investment tokens. We have season tokens with a new TGL at each beginning of season. Our NFTs are tradable on our marketplace using Matic or native blockchain tokens if we build on another chain. And players' rewards are made of prize pools composed of items and bags of Matic and native tokens, and mostly fueled by commissions made out of the marketplace. And why AI? Because you never run out of idea with an AI culinary assistant. At the moment in our MVP, we help you to generate new recipes based on the elements you have in your fridge according to the specificities of your profile. If you're vegan, what type of equipment you have in your kitchen, etc. But tomorrow we aim to build a complete culinary assistant that will help you to reach your diet goals, plan your meal, ease your grocery shopping online, and ease your life. In addition, AI will empower the game, and as we can create unlimited quests for the players. In fact, we want to save you time in the kitchen while you gain years of life expectancy. So why now? we have noticed that the cooking app market is aging and has not been really disrupted over the last year. For example, most visited cooking websites such as Our Recipes in the US or Marmiton in France looks very old and are not really interactive. In the era of Web3 and AI, gamifying the cooking activity is a real opportunity. We are convinced that we need to act quickly and take market shares before a potential bull run. This is now because AI will help us to ease the home cooking activity, and the gamification will help us to onboard a lot of people and keep them motivated and keep them using the app. The market size. We think that our market is deep. For example, the lifestyle app TAM is about $8 billion and it's expected to grow at an 18 CAGR rate over the next decade. As we gamify the cooking activity, we think we can also attract players from the 9 billion GameFi market too. We think our SAM is about 5% of that, and we hope to take 5% of it. So our sum would be a $20 million revenue opportunities over the next months and years. Let me speak a little bit about the business model and the go-to-market strategy. So we expect two kind of revenues. First, commissions from the marketplace, and two, memberships from the AI culinary assistants. Regarding the commission, we plan to take a 3% fees out of any NFT transaction from the marketplace. As we are really early stage and we have not been we have not tested in real the game mechanism, it was kind of hard to modelize the flows, but we are hoping to have a 100K monthly revenue after 24 months from the marketplace, and we expect a 25K USD monthly revenue after 18 months from the memberships. Regarding the go-to-market strategy, we want to continue our partnership with Chief. At the moment, we have two big partnerships with Happy Chef TV and Chef Tips, who totalize more than 50K followers. We want to continue partnership with GamingDAO. We have a good partnership with IndieGG in India, and we are discussing with the Roundtable and Game7. And we want to focus on Asian markets, most primarily India, and the US and Europe for sure.
Hey, Osama,
let me show you.
Just a heads up, probably 2 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, okay, great. I only have two more slides. Some KPIs or MVP do not include gamified features and full AI culinary assistant at the moment. We have a Google app. We are registered on the Apple platform, but we are waiting for the validating process. As of today, we have more than 425 users and almost more than 110 downloads from Android. And users have generated more than 1K AI recipes, and we own more than 500 recipes. And a few words about the team. We have a complementary team of first-time founders, except for Davy, which already owns 3 digital marketing companies in France. Maxime, our CEO, is an engineer. He worked for Airbus. He has performed AI research for embedded space systems, and actually working in the healthcare space, working as on AI treatment of cancer and neurodegenerative disease. Myself, I have a finance background. I'm a M&A and finance director. I used to work for Deloitte and Siemens, and I've been involved in more than 100 deals in my career. Davy is a serial entrepreneur and a former pro gamer. He used to play Dofus. And Andreas is a Web3 and front-end dev, and I've participated in many Web3 projects. In addition to that, we have at the moment 2 community managers, 1 designer, and 1 Australian director. I don't think I will have time to go over the roadmap, but I will thank you for your participation. Thanks, guys.
Great work, man. Great job.
Thank you, Kevin. Good job. Quickly to the feedback. Perhaps could you open up the stream and share? So maybe I'll ask you to go through certain pages.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think what you're doing is interesting. It's different, right? And different is mostly good, unless it's really wild. But I don't consider what you're doing really wild. So I like that. I think you spend a lot of time on the problem, and if I were in your shoes, I'd probably have framed the problem differently, because you talk about the problem of obesity, but it's like I'm not like, that's not really a question for me. But what, like, the way you could have framed it, and I think this might be useful for you when pitching this, is talk about like what people are already trying to live healthier instead of the costs of being unhealthy, right? Like how are the current solutions to cooking healthily failing? And how is what you're building uniquely helping users to change their habits? And why is, and that goes into the strong why now. From this presentation, I don't walk away super convinced that Web3 is a like a very strong added value here, but I do think that like there's a there. So, you know, if you sell it in a way that, you know, on each completed new dish, people will get this trophy that they can show off, and then this would be an NFT. Like I could see something there with good execution. I could see that work. So I think that's my first feedback. So a slightly adjusted problem statement, and then like with a very clear reason on why you're using a bunch of technologies to solve the exact problem. Another question I have, something you can think about, that's probably more of a follow-up question, not something you necessarily need to address in the presentation itself, is localization. So, you know, when you're doing cooking apps, like if you travel to Asia, you mentioned a bunch of countries, like supermarkets to buy food look very different in all of the countries that you listed, which means that you will have some work, I'd say, to localize the application to different markets. So that'd be interesting to get a sense of as well. You also is a full team French? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
So you have a home field advantage in France. Just again, intuitively, it generally makes sense to focus on the advantage on the market that you know best. So yeah, that's also a question. Why go abroad if the whole team is French and you know that market well? That's another open question for me.
It was mainly due to regulation. We were afraid of because we use Web3 technology for the retention of the user, and we are afraid of the MiCA regulation that will start this year.
Yep.
So we screen a lot of countries and a lot of regulation, and we end up in Australia because it's really crypto friendly and it's really easy to open a business. It's kind of cheap, and so we have one member in Australia, which is our lawyer, and but all the team is French.
Okay, got it. Good. Maybe finally something I picked up that always like I'm now. So what you said was you have 2 community members, but then if you look at the traction that you have, you'll have like a 750 member Discord, and that ratio sounds dangerous, if that makes sense. You know, yeah. Maybe they're working for free and they're just like
they are not full time. They are not free, but they are not full time.
Okay. Again, like just these are things that as an investor I pick up, and it's something to keep in mind. And then I guess finally my final point is probably the most important point. You should probably talk about yourself earlier. So, you know, in the end, we talk about, in the beginning, Ryan said we have 3 projects presenting. I like to think about businesses more than projects, because in the end, that's what this is. A not very known fact, it's something that people should know more, is that almost all of the great games and great game studios, publishers out there, they didn't succeed with their first attempts. It was like they're like on average, I don't know the exact number, but the average is more than 5 in terms of amount of games or number of games you publish and go to market with before you find a hit that makes more than $100 million. And so for that, I think the team is more important than what you're doing. And so definitely start with that. And then I guess my final point with regards to the team is that, one of the key things that will make you successful is gamification. And so I didn't see a lot of proven like experience in that aspect in the team. And that's something that, if you don't have it in the core team, well, if you have it in the core team, you should, that's important. If you don't have it, then you should find a way to get it inside of the organization.
So we are gamers. We have a pro gamer in our ranks, but we never built a gamification project.
Yeah. There's a big difference. So I see quite a few people who think, well, that's pro gaming means that you really understand games, but consuming something doesn't mean you know how to make it. That's my general learning there.
So to stay on for time, guys, we should probably move on to our next presentation. But Oksami, you did great. Thank you for going first.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
All right. Tom, unfamiliar dude, do we have any volunteers or am I picking names? All right. We're picking names. Unfamiliar dude, it is you. Let's go. Oh, shoot. And I think we put you on mute there, so we can't hear you too. Should be, let's see, bottom of the screen, I think. Bottom center.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Get some technical issues out of here. Let's make sure we can see the slideshow. You guys got that okay?
No, not yet.
Nope.
Not yet. All right. That's always a fun part of these, is trying to get the technical side working. Okay.
So it should be, let's see. So the
screen.
Yep, share your screen, and then it should be you get to choose the tab or the window. There it goes.
There we go.
Crush it.
All right.
All right, it's all yours. And I got your timer going for you too, so don't worry about that.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about why I'm doing what I do. And so sometimes I get a little bit misty-eyed, so I'm sorry if I get caught up in it. But I really believe in our project and what we do. And most of the people, they take clean drinking water for granted. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you take a shower. Water is piped in directly wherever you need it. So we really don't think about that. For most people, that is just a thing that they just turn on and we get it whenever we need it. You and I have more than enough water, but for millions of families, clean drinking water is inaccessible and sometimes miles away. And in the villages that we work with, the women walk 3 to 5 miles a day carrying 5 gallons of water on their head. I believe with where we're at in civilization, everyone should have access to clean drinking water. I'm Brian Gray, founder of Unfamiliar Territory, a Gaming for Good initiative. We partnered with Hydrating Humanity to build wells in East Africa. Hydrating Humanity has built over 1,000 wells to date. It's an amazing organization. They really, really care about people. I put the humanitarian part first because it's not a tacked-on feel-good project. We want to bring real-world solutions to big problems through gaming and entertainment products. In fact, we've already built our first well in Tanzania. It serves over 500 families a day. For those families, we have made a tangible difference in their daily lives, and we want to just continue to do that. So in the next section, I'm going to go over the games. I'm going to assume everyone here understands the crypto market and the opportunity. This deck is really aimed at the bigger picture and our plan to get there. So you'll notice we have 3 phases. The first step is to build a community. The first question I think any game builder should ask is, how do we build a game that people want to play and create content that people want to watch? So long gone are the days of just building a game. Now it's about building a sustainable community, and that requires content. I've heard so many pitches that when it comes to the marketing, they say, oh, we're just going to get a bunch of influencers to market our game. That's it. No plan of what kind of content or how they're going to pull it off. Other game builders focus directly on the game, but not the community. They have, like I call it, an if they build it, they will come mentality. So we believe in scaling as we go, iterating quickly, failing often, and testing our assumptions through gameplay. We've chosen Discord to be our main hub of interaction. We realized that our community needed something to do while they wait 4 to 5 years for our game to be built. So we built a Discord idle farming game. It's built around the unfamiliar story. It's a check-in game that players can plant, harvest, go adventuring, and it was 100% written by AI, which is kind of cool. And our alpha testers have been logging 8 to 12 hours a week playing it. So we know it's fun and it's engaging and they keep coming back. It also gives us the ability to jumpstart our economy early. So the assets in the game, we've got seeds, food, structures, weapons, and armor. They're all NFTs that can later be used in the upcoming AAA game. When you start playing, the first thing you're going to notice is the ease of onboarding new players. So just type begin and the game prompts for a valid email address. In the background, the player's wallet is created and tied directly to the Discord username and email. No bridges or MetaMask mumbo jumbo. It's just an easy Web 2 type integration. The Discord game currently is about 90% finished, and the NFT integration side of it is almost done. So last year, the biggest question I heard was, how do we bring Web 2 players into Web 3? And I believe we need to go where the players already are. And you're going to see Fortnite, like, what is he thinking? But by utilizing Unreal Engine Fortnite Creator, we're leveraging all of Fortnite's assets and mechanics and have access to their player base of almost 500 million users. So if you aren't familiar with UEFN, it allows multiple users to build maps on multiple platforms, like PC and Xbox at the same time. So you can have a couple creators building while a dozen players are playing the map all at the same time. So we want to build a community of creators, builders, and players. And I'm going to say that again because it's really important that you get that. We want to build a community of creators, builders, and players. So we see a big opportunity there. We can use this platform to build our gameplay, our audience, and live stream all at the same time. We can iterate our gameplay based directly on our feedback and build our audience as we go. And we can also invite special guest influencers to play, live stream, and give our audience a chance to play with us, all within our own ecosystem. Also, the other cool thing about this is Epic is putting up 40% of their revenues to build on the platform. That was $6 billion last year. Single map creators like Always Up are making over $1 million a year, and Epic is looking for studios to build engaging games on their platform, and our game is a perfect fit. But we have something that Web 2 creators don't, and that is we have the ability to reward Web 2 players with Web 3 assets. So we bring them into our community and our future games. So even though Fortnite may be a Web 2 game, we can still reward them for achievements and things like that with Web 3 assets, just bringing them back into our Discord. Phase 3 is building out our AAA game. And that's a giant battle between factions with flying airships and a robust AI-driven world. We've been working on using AI for NPCs for the last year and a half, and we envision each NPC like a SimCity on steroids. Each NPC has its own daily tasks and goes about its day, but when it's confronted with an opportunity, it makes a decision based on its personality. And these NPCs will all be farming, crafting, building as a normal player would. The only twist is that they're all playable characters. So they aren't just NPCs, they're represented by an NFT. So when the player logs out, the character will continue to farm, mine, depending on its traits. This helps stabilize the economy and makes up for players coming and going, which if you know the gaming industry, that's a big, big deal. And that gives us the first AI-generated economy. So last is our team slide, and you're going to notice one name that really pops out here, and that's Don Goddard. Don is Don's a pretty amazing guy. He's best known for Sonic the Hedgehog, and most recently, he has left Planet Quest. He is a veteran in the industry, and as you can tell by all the games and companies he's worked for, he really knows his stuff. I also have a list of advisors that aren't on here, from tokenomics to game devs. People I trust when I need help. That's one of the reasons I'm in this gaming community. And just a real quick recap of where we're at today. So we've got an upcoming partnership announcement with Polygon. I'm talking with Ryan there and Stardust. They're going to give us marketing support for our upcoming loot box sale. And they've got about 2 million followers. So we think that'll be hopefully get a lot of traction from that. This leads to our loot box sale for our Discord game, which we have 3 tiers of boxes we're going to sell with varying rarity of items inside. Then we have our River token launch in probably late March, depending on the market. Maybe sooner, maybe later, just kind of depends. We want to, I was going to launch a token before all of the crash happened, and so we're ready for it now. We just want to make sure the timing's right with it. We're also in talks with Epic for a mega grant and have already received a sizable grant from Immutable X. I feel like our timing's really good here. We have a viable product and hope to be coming into a bull market soon. I didn't put the ask in here. If you're interested in moving forward, let's have a real conversation. I'd love to field any questions you might have. I know we went over a lot, so I just appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great job.
Awesome.
Great job.
Thank you, Brian.
You bet.
Yeah, great job indeed. Very good. What wasn't clear to me was the start of the presentation, where you talked about bringing drinkable water to families, which I think is a fantastic goal, and how that connects to the game exactly.
Sure. Basically, we've built wells in the game, and we've tied that to Hydrating Humanity's own wallet. So when players build a well and they buy it, it goes directly to Hydrating Humanity. Then we're also, like the loot box sale that we're doing that's coming up, we're going to be giving 20% of everything that comes in for that. So you're right. I probably should have made it clear how we actually get that money over to Hydrating Humanity and how this all works.
Mm-hmm. So is it right for me to the way I understand it is that, look, part of this will be a good game, but one of the additional reasons why you believe people will play the game is because by playing the game and by spending money within the game, they're actually doing good for the world.
Absolutely.
More than just padding some game publishers' pockets.
Yeah, I looked for some references for people, if they have the choice between A and B, will they choose? And there's references out there, but nothing really that I could find that I wanted to use in the deck, anyways. So
yeah, it's just an interesting topic, right? Because in the end, what you're doing here is as a purely financial investor. The way I'm thinking about this is I'm making the trade-off between the opportunity cost of that money. So you're trading off the money that you're giving away to the benefit or the increased spending of users. So increased number of users and the increased spending per user.
Yeah.
And so the bet here is that increased spending and higher number of users is higher than the money that you give away from a financial perspective.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we are a for-profit game. I didn't want to come off too much that we're a non-profit, because we're not. We're totally for profit. At least 20% of this I see going towards. There's so much money here, Nico. And one of the things that got me doing this was when we saw Axie Infinity blow up in the Philippines. That's what really got me started with saying we can actually affect a whole country here. And I didn't put this in the slide. Maybe I should, but you think of East Africa as being, how many of them are going to have a cell phone or access? Well, 70% of them have access to a cell phone and have a phone. They may not have water, but they've all got phones. So I think actually even targeting East Africans themselves, they'll be able to, that's a big thing for us, is to be able to help that country out. And they can actually help themselves out. So.
Yeah. It's really tough because, like, I don't know if I said this last time, because maybe you were referring to that when you mentioned that you were looking for data on this specific topic. But I actually built a company that was not involved with water, but with planting trees. And like we were trying to change user habits by with every 10 things they would do, we would plant a tree. And we found that to be not very strong of a convincer. So people are pretty reluctant to change their habits. Now, games and what we were doing, which was payments, is different. This is for me the biggest struggle in something like this. And so for me, this is something I'd love to see more data driven, put into your story, where you're like, again, from a financial perspective, and we're assholes, right? The only thing we actually care about is money as investors, and that's the only thing we should care about, because otherwise we're not doing our job well. And so we need to be convinced. You're going to have to convince an investor, like a financial investor, a VC. You will have to convince that the fact that you do this is a net benefit for your business. That being said, I could imagine this working, especially in your early stages, with angels, where it's more about, if we do this, we're also helping out, families that are worse off than most of the world. So, just as feedback, I think the pitch towards a angel investor that cares about these things is different than from like someone like me.
Okay. Yeah. Well noted. Thank you.
And then I think maybe I would have liked. I think the pitch would have been better if you would have introduced your background a bit in the starts, and also tie that into the story. Given your experiences, how you've come to do this, I think that would have made a great story given the experience of you and the rest of the team.
Okay. Yeah, it's always hard with, I tried to plan this around 7 minutes, and it's like, how much do you take out? What do you put in? So yeah, I will definitely put that in. It's funny. I've known the CEO, Matt Peterson, since I was in first grade, and I have originally had that in the pitch, but it's like it just came kind of off a little bit cheesy, so I took it out. But he's a good friend of mine. It's a wonderful organization. Mm-hmm. What about the game side of it? So that's the portion that we're really proud of, and we're making some traction on. What did you think on that?
In general, especially in these initial calls, I care less about the game than why you chose to do certain things.
Okay.
And so I generally I like the approach of community first, rapid iteration, step by step moving forward. I think that is interesting, and I think that can be valuable. And I would emphasize the strategicness of this decision making. It's something that I've said to Ryan a bunch. I don't care about what you do. I care about why you're doing it, because what is your unique insights, and why you and maybe Don know why this is the way to go, right? Maybe you guys can get to 100,000 daily active users with minimal investments and de-risk the 80 million that you'll need to turn this into a AAA game, which I like. You raise 75 now, 250K soon, and then you want to do 80 million. That's a big step. So
debt finance. The guy that I work with that has done AAA games, he owned a studio that sold to Konami. He's seen thousands of pitch decks. He kind of helped me through this. He helped me a lot with it. Most of the time, and I didn't know how to put that in the deck, but for the game that he's doing, AAA game, I wasn't even going to say the word AAA. Like, he's like, look, if people want to see, they want to know that you're going to go big with this. So even if it's, you're working on this part of it now, you go big later. He said basically for a $60 to $75 million, they've debt financed about 15 million. So how would you put that into the deck as far as telling the VCs, hey, yeah, we're looking at a $70 million game, but we're going to end up raising 15 of it?
I think that what's really important is that something that we think about as investors is downstream financing risk. And so when we put in money, if the game requires more money to actually prove what it needs to prove in order to be successful, or even release a game, that's a risk that we're taking, right? Because we now see when the market's tough, we have to help all of our portfolio companies with their raises. And so I think in your case, however you find the money is not super relevant. I think depending on what you were looking for with your initial builds, like if you come to me and you say, look, by the time we want to raise that 65 million, we will have this amount of players, that amount of revenue, because we can make money, with these first versions of the game, and that will have proven to us that the IP sticks, that the concept works, and then we will raise this. Like if you can go beyond profitability before you need to raise these, that helps.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Nico. That's probably my time. So How are we
Awesome.
doing, Autopilot? Are we?
Yeah,
up
we're
there?
we're ready for Tom. Great job again, Unfamiliar. That's a really great pitch.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Good
Nico.
one.
Appreciate it.
All right, Tom. So it's your stage. I got your timer going here. So feel free to share your deck, and we'll cruise through.
Here we go.
And then actually, Unfamiliar Dude, I think your deck is still being shown. If you want to pull that down, thank you. Appreciate you.
And the kickstart everything. Super happy to be here with you guys. I'm actually big fan of FOGDAO and the Startup Gaming Collective. I've learned a lot with you guys. So it's actually perfect that I have this opportunity to, instead of focusing on the salesy sort of situation or speculation side, I actually would like to use this chance to, improve the ecosystem we're building and the user experience overall. To kind of give a little bit of context about myself, I'm Tom, 32 years from Portugal, and I'd like to kind of address these two sort of situations that changed my perspective, through gaming. Obviously, I believe we all here have this, aspect that when we're gaming, we kind of transcend into this realm, right? We really enjoy the moment, and especially when we actually delve into the entrepreneurship, it's even further the feeling we have. So to kind of give this two stories about my background, like 25 years ago in my home school, that was a big time for the marble gaming. Everyone was like really crazy. I had this situation that I kind of went to the school board and asked to build this playground. Was my first, let's put it in gaming slash entrepreneurship moment. But it was a blast, I have to say. But it was kind of a hassle, to kind of deal with all that, organization, just carrying this grocery bag full of marbles. It was quite troublesome. 10 years forward, I had this opportunity to enroll in the programming course in high school, where I built my first game. It was also an amazing experience for myself until we actually had this hacker uh, kind of messing around with our game, adding more items to the database, getting into other people's accounts. So this was like the the breaking point for that, and I felt this huge issue with the digital scarcity and obviously with the in real life management of everything. Fast forward 10 years, I actually happened to see CryptoKitties going on, and I had this Leonardo DiCaprio moment that I went like, "Whoa, I think this is the solution for all the problems that I was trying to solve before, going digital and having this Web3 properties that allow us to keep track of everything, being immutable, transparent, etc." So this sort of came to the today, where we're trying to build this evolution of entertainment, building a digital cosmos of immersive experiences for brands, content creators, and gamers. So since we pretty much both know how's the market going, to kind of use my time the best I can, we're pretty much at the peak opportunity for both gamify, metaverse, and NFTs. I think that's been shout out by some very important people in the space, and I fully agree. So what sort of problems are we seeing in the gaming world? Well, the escalating costs of both equipment, the titles, which puts 3 billion people really struggling to keep up. Also the fact that most of these people don't actually earn anything from it, right? It's like less than 1% of people are actually pro gamers, and I believe that's about 90% of streamers don't actually make more than $25 per month. Plus the fact that entering the Web3 space is really challenging for many people that has this steep learning curve. So I believe that once we figure out these sort of problems, we are able to revolutionize the gaming for billions. So to kind of give a little perspective about what we're building, so this what we call a one-stop shop solution for all needs. What at a comparison, I could say that we're like the WeChat of the metaverse. And what really makes us different is the fact that we have free-to-play, skill-based, low-poly games, okay, for low-end computers. We're building this app chains with in-game economies where people can buy, sell, or rent assets. We're having this traditional gaming experience where with 5 clicks from entering the website, creating an account, going to the app, download the game, enter the launcher, and start playing. We also have this boosted rewards where we hope to generate more value to the ecosystem by people actually having their own content about it, like user-generated content loyalty programs sort of deal. And we also in multiple networks with multiple entertaining venues and more. So to give a little bit of perspective regarding our achievements and tractions as of today, so we've been trying to set the sort of fundamental pillars in our journey so far in this past 28 months. We are in one of the top leading tech incubators in the world, which is Portuguese Instituto Pedro Nunes. We're a part of the Near Horizon Accelerator. We're in a few innovator programs such as the Saga Innovator Programs, Microsoft for Startups, and we also have a partnership with Nova Legal, which is intended to comply with all the regulations that are as of today. In terms of traction, we have more than 10 partnerships and a few more collaborations. We've been, using, for example, Twitter and LinkedIn to share a bit of our content, and we've conducted a few playtests, alpha playtests with over 500 accounts and NFTs minted. In terms of the team, I really wanted to use this chance to, appreciate everyone that contributed so far for this project to be alive and to be as it is today. I must say that we are not, ex Blizzard or ex Ubisoft or ex Microsoft or anything like that. But considering our resources, I believe we've demonstrated enough passion and greed for what we do. As I used to say, it's bull or bear, funding or no funding, we keep building. And obviously, since we're starting our careers, we chose the best strategic advisors that we could find to guide us and support us with the important decisions, as well as our partners, which allow us to really focus on creating this fun and immersive experience. So in terms of the product development highlights for this past 28 months, what I would like to kind of address is that we managed to build our own launcher. We deployed on 4 different blockchains, being Avalanche, Arbitrum, Cosmos, and Polygon as of right now. When we started, we were building this sort of WebGL build, but we then decided to merge into the Windows due to scalability and performance improvements. We have 2 game modes where we call the tutorials, 2 vertical slices, really simple, nothing complex about it. And we managed to introduce social logins, smart wallets, and gasless transactions. In a couple of minutes, I'll just show the demo showcase. To speak a little bit about the roadmap, obviously this sort of things, the ambition is there, but I rather be more this type of pragmatic person and just speak more about what we've done already instead of what we could do in the future, because obviously these things always change considering the market and the resources we have. But to put it simply, we are trying to implement the cosmic shops and the marketplaces, which I will talk a little bit more in the future, to improve our player retention with on and off chain quests, to move our communication with the users to in-game, to the metaverse, to introduce multiplayer modes, new game modes, plus obviously this is a gamified project, so we also have this DEX, staking, yield aggregator. We're also going to run a few hackathons and our launchpad.
Hey, Tom, just real quick, 3 minutes.
Got it. In terms of our user acquisition go-to-market strategy, we have this B2B and B2C models. On our Cosmic Hub, which is like our digital city, we're onboarding different brands to integrate their marketplaces there. And also we have different portals that take people to different games. With our partners and backers, we're running this sort of playtests, speedrun playtests to engage the players and collect some feedback. This is a little bit of our placement in the market. We would say it's more a UGC and Web3 focus. speaking a little bit about our business model, again, obviously innovation entails execution risk. We all know about it. So we tend to use the most proven methods in the market as of today, which is like the lens sales, loot box sales, marketplaces fee, digital passes, and ad revenue. What I would like to refer here is that we want people to become creators, not just speculators. We allow the opportunity for people, for example, to buy a piece of land, to build their own shop, to build their own cities, or even maps to play inside of the games. And also through our Cosmic Pass, which bring different tiers with incredible perks for the users. And I'll push here now the video. And if you would like to ask a few questions, Nico, while the video is ongoing, would be awesome.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to multitask, watch the video and ask questions. Good. Thanks for that. Good presentation.
Thank you.
And also, it's nice to hear some of the the anecdotes from your life. Like, we look for founders that are extremely driven. It always helps. Probably make it more pointed and shorter, but I think that's a minor detail. If you go, well, maybe you can do that later after we've watched your video. I think did you have people play the game yet?
Yep, over 500 accounts, NFTs minted. We
Okay.
conducted 2 playtests on Mumbai Polygon and on the Saga testnet.
Okay. What are some of the retention metric? Like, is it a full game loop, or what can players do?
So right now we have the Cosmic Hub, which is like a social metaverse kind of situation, and as well as we have this Tower Defense, which is our pilot game per se.
Yeah.
There's the 10 different levels. The only intention we're focusing right now it's user acquisition and user retention. So for example, in the first level we had about 20% retention. On the last level it was about 5%, if I'm not mistaken, last time I checked.
Sorry, what does that mean? Like on the first level, 20% retention? So 20% of your players finish the first level and 5% the last?
So
yeah, okay.
to translate this, obviously there's a lot of things we can still improve, right? To make the game more fun, to make it more accessible for more people. But again, this is just a starting point. Let's put it like that, a pilot. We're trying to keep it really as user friendly as possible, right? No wallets, no complicated stuff like no in-game economy right now. Just really having this sort of I'm gonna go back. Having this sort of experience where people could just log in, play a few games, get their start collection, and from there obviously to introduce new game modes, because this is sort of like a Roblox experience, same IP, different games that share assets, and with that to improve even more user acquisition in user retention.
Mm-hmm. So do you have experience building things like this?
So, but the first game that I built was back in 2008. Like I mentioned, I was in high school back then. I did not make this as a living. Okay, that's where I actually rely on the team we have. They have a bit more experience building games as a living. Obviously, this sort of things, it's a trial and error kind of thing, right? As you mentioned before, usually the startups don't make the first game as a hit. So again, this is our opportunity to just keep adding new game modes that actually improve over time and to achieve a further state of global interest.
I'm always wary of very, very big visions, and it sounds like what you're doing is like falls underneath that. Startups, like one of the key words for successful startups is focus, and mostly we suggest startups do one thing very well. And for that reason, like I would almost we're looking for player liquidity, and we're looking for a lot of players to come into your world, which I think we could call a metaverse, although that might have negative connotations with many. And I think the way you get a high number of or a high amount of player liquidity will be through a hit game. You you're unlikely to get a large amount of players by having a bunch of like decent experiences. And so for that reason, it's to me always risky to do to try and do too many things versus focusing on like on the games itself. And so honestly, like I would prefer you to bring out separate games that aren't necessarily tied together in one world until you find something that really sticks, that people really start playing, and then you build out from there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
The fact that we went to this approach, having an hybrid business model, for example, with the shops and with different games, because obviously not everybody likes to play RPG or tower defense game modes, and other people sometimes it's not just about gaming. Other people like to also be entertained, to have multiple experiences. And obviously this way we could not just focus on gamers themselves, but also brands and content creators. Because obviously if there's one place that gives different tools and use cases, brings more value to the ecosystem, and it's based on network effects.
I agree.
Not just the team itself providing the value to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that brings me to the next point, because you're right. Like all of this depends on network effects, and so you're gonna have to overcome the gold star problem, which is you don't have players, but you also don't have builders and you don't have brands. And so I would forget about the brands for now. So you need players and you need people building stuff. And I think solving that problem, because no one's going to build stuff if there's no players, and no players are going to be there if there's nothing built, right? So you have to solve that. I think you solve that by building experience, like getting this hit game and building that yourself. That's how you kickstart that. It's dangerous to compete with Roblox, right? Because they existed for 20 years and their tech stack is like they have billions of dollars that they've spent, and so it's always risky as a startup to go after a competitor like that without like a very, very special niche approach. And so I would say, I'm not saying you don't have that, but I would say that that's a concern I have, and that's something that you should probably highlight in your presentation.
Thank you.
How exactly are you solving the gold star problem? What's your special approach, and why are you the one to do this?
Right. So again, it's comes a little bit to our go-to-market strategy by first onboarding these partners we already have, because again, we really want to elevate other brands and stop this tribalism approach and unite instead. Because again, one brand or one user that comes to that shop to buy something, a digital product from that brand, it's a user that we onboard to our ecosystem. And since people are there, they could also enjoy a few games. And using, for example, this partnerships that we develop, plus the foundations that are backing us with brands to provide these different tournaments, to onboard different users from different blockchains, and again have this more unified, through the ecosystem, not just focused approach on a particular network, for example, or a player base.
Got it. Okay. Good job, Tom.
For the feedback.
Nico, thank you again. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you giving us feedback.
My pleasure.
All these pitches.
Dude, it's actually like it's pretty exhausting, you have to focus, and there's a lot of context switching, and but it was good. You're bringing some interesting entrepreneurs, and I love founders, so good stuff.
Yeah. I'll probably hit you with the message. We'll try and get another one of these scheduled. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're doing a lot of things, and this is in essence volunteer work. So I'll hit you with the note. Maybe we can find another time to keep these going.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Ryan. Cool. Thank you, everyone. And have a good rest of your days, and keep building.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Peace.
Bye.